Okay, folks, we are live. It's 10:52. Just checking out the chat. Hello. Chat's working. Checking my cameras. We got camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Alright, so that's all working. And this is for film production. Today is October 28th. And I left something on my desk. That's for next class. Okay. So while we're waiting for the actual 11 o'clock mark coming up, I am going to, I don't know if I really need this camera right now, but I'm going to set it up anyway. What'd you watch today? I watched Mr. Carlson mess around with a camera. Oh, that's bright. Yeah, why not? Okay. All right. So we are at 10:54. So I'm going to hit a couple announcements before we get started with film production. Remote students. Reminder that remote students, I have a Google Meet for you every week at 1 o'clock till whenever we're done. And I send that Google Meet. I just sent it, the invitation for it out. And that is time set aside just for remote students to question, clarify, communicate any of their concerns over content or grades or whatever. And I stay there until, no one needs me anymore. I stick around for 10 minutes, folks, with the Google Meet open. And as soon as the 10 minutes are up, no one showed up, I close it down because I got better things to do than sit around looking at a screen with no one. I'd rather answer people's questions. If you can't make the Google Meet, remote students, you can always email me too, but sometimes the dialogue back and forth is better than trying to type it. Live stream. During these live streams, I will give you all of the answers to the quizzes, like specifically. I'm going to go through one question at a time. So all you need to do is watch this, and boom, you got 100. Speaking of that, quizzes, you can only take it twice now. So you can't really guess your way through it. I mean, you could try to, but 2 times through guessing might not give you the full credit. So it's better just to watch the video. Speaking of that, the video, if you can't get here between 11 and 12, as soon as I'm done, I send it to post on YouTube. It can take anywhere from 3 to 6 to sometimes 9 hours, but it really just depends on the traffic flow with YouTube. We don't have any control over that, but it will be listed there just like all of our other videos since the beginning of the year, since all the way back to March of last year. Okay, so that's the live stream. 10 week, folks, we are at week 8, believe it or not. 10 weeks comes up on November 12th. So on November 12th, whatever grade you've got in the class is the grade you've got, unless you, after I'm done with it, and I'll give you plenty of announcements about this and warnings, but once that 11-12 shows up, it is in stone as far as I'm concerned. If you have a medical excuse, you can contact the guidance office to make grade changes, but that's it. There's no late work for the first 10 weeks after that point. Speaking of that, I'm closing up grades this Friday for what we're doing right now, what's in School Tool, whatever's there, we are going to close up this Friday. So, and I think I have one more announcement. No, I'm on the right part. Okay. So that is Friday. We're going to close up those grades. Now, pause that, Seth. Hello? Hey, what's happening? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Think about a different app because we've had Google or we've had Comic Life for since the course began, like I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. Yeah, and it's not. We don't need it until next semester, but I figured I'd better start thinking about that. Okay. I'm live on the internet right now, so you're famous. Okay, because I mean, if it doesn't work, if we can't update it, then I got to talk to Dan about I don't know getting new software because I know they're up to like I don't know 3.0 or something like that. But as soon as I'm done with these guys, I can look into it more. Sure. Okay, great. Yep, bye. Okay, folks, I'm coming back your way. Sorry, it's busy here. Okay. Well, it's 11 o'clock anyway, right this moment. So, what are we working on? So, film production. Folks, we have finished. Let's see what we have worked on. We have finished Rocky. We have finished the mix-up. We finished the Raiders edit. Now we are into our own films. So, you should be done with the 1-minute film. And in class, we went through all of the and let me switch cameras. All of the requirements for grades for that 1-minute film, which I'm going to bring up on the screen right now. 1-minute film. Okay, so there's writing a short film. There's the whole idea of the 3-act structure. Then this is all old stuff, folks. 1-minute movie examples, 1-minute film winners, and how to make a 1-minute film. There's a video right there. But here's what you need to probably know the most at this point in time. Here's the grading. Do you have a 3-act structure story? So there it is. Right above it tells exactly what it is. If you have it, great. That's the majority of the grade, 60%. Is just for story, and that's the whole. And here's an example right here that we showed in class. But all of film is really communicating an idea, communicating a story. If you're not, and it's just a camera set out in the woods, that's a trail cam. That's just there's nothing really happening except for every once in a while maybe something will walk by, but it's not really a story. It's just a record. Number 2, green screen effects or a still image is 10%. Sound effects and or music, 10%. Some type of text, titles that we used in iMovie, 10%. And clip filter and or transitions, 10%. Total 100%. So it's pretty clear how I get the grade. It's almost a matter of a checklist where I go down through, I watch the 1-minute movies, boom, 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 and I will put all those in Thursday and Friday. I'll be putting those in at 1 o'clock, and whatever grade you have for that 1-minute movie on Friday is it. Okay, if you don't have it in by Friday at 1 o'clock. that grade is passed unless you have a medical excuse. Okay, so we are done with that and we are moving on. So that is the how to make a 1-minute movie. Now, I always try to include these storyboards that you can print out, or you can always just use a scrap piece of paper to make up these rectangles. It just helps to plan beforehand. I was just on a movie shoot this last Sunday, and we got there, and it was quite a bit of money that was invested in the sets and the props. But we got there, and the director was a little fuzzy about some of the details, and if they had a storyboard, it would have been better use of the time, I think, and it would have communicated the story much better. But when you put that much money, time, and effort into something, and you don't have a real solid plan, it can show through. Okay, and there's examples of storyboards down below. So that's what was, folks. We are done with that. We are moving on. The next film that we're working on right now, or at least we should be, it'll be this week and next week's classes, an hour of next week, and then tomorrow. So an hour and a half we have to do the day in the life of the Falcon. So what was that? I recommended to shoot 5 to 8 minutes of film. We're going to trim it down to kind of between 3 to 5 minutes. Excuse me. Yesterday I showed an example of a 5-minute film that I had constructed that really needed some serious help. But quick read through as you look back on your life. What are you most proud of? What do you regret? How do you feel about each of those things? Look forward. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Where are you now? Where do you want to be in the future? So, and then there's a whole series of questions down below. Hobbies, jobs, relationships. Now, I mentioned this in class a number of times. If you film this, you're all done, and you are not comfortable with other people seeing it, you would rather just have me view it, grade it, and be done with it, that is no problem. You just need to let me know. Okay. Otherwise, I will probably show them here or there in class, and if I see that it's something that we really want to share, I will always talk to you before I use it, like at an art exhibition or on the screens in school. But I will, I seldom put anything on the website unless it doesn't have, faces of students on there. So, or you're in such costumes that, so much of a costume we don't really know what you're doing. Speaking of costumes, happy Halloween to everybody coming up. And for those that really like shooting film and acting and like costumes, the best time for cosplayers and costumers to get equipment is November 1st. That would be this Sunday. And you just got to get up mighty early in the morning, get over to stores like Walmart or Spirit Halloween. Not that I'm promoting either one of those businesses, but when they're 75% off of stuff, load up while you can. So back to the 5 to 8 minutes of film that we'll edit down. It's a day in the life of the Falcon. There's a link right here, how it's a documentary. There's that storyboard again in case you need it. And I don't know if I have the grading set up on this. It's in class. I'll bring it up on here. I've just got to get down to the other room. But I'll talk about the grading probably next Wednesday, but I'll be talking about it in class as well. So day in the life of the Falcon, we are summing up, and I think that will that might be the last grade for the first 10 weeks. Okay, I'm going to talk about the next film, and keep in mind the live stream. We're always every Wednesday in the live stream. I'm giving you the instruction for the next week, the following week, because what I want you to do is in class, I want to give you the time to work on the software. So outside of class is when I'm going to do this instruction. So I'm going to get to the next film that we're going to start. Some people are going to start into this next week. It's a silent movie. This weekend, I recommended going out and shooting some film. I'll talk about it tomorrow and Friday. Shooting some film for a silent movie. Basically, well, let's get right into it. It's on Film Week 7-8. All right, and let me tell you the assignment first, and then we'll get into the quizzy information. So, at least 5 minutes of film. So, if the final has to be 5 minutes, I would always recommend shooting additional film. Give yourself choices. If you only shoot 5 minutes, well, there's not much more you can do with it. But if you shoot 8 to 10, you can always edit it down. Maybe you decide that some parts are moving too slow, too fast. Maybe the lighting wasn't so great, that maybe the acting was horrible. So you can always edit those things out. But if you don't have enough footage, well, you can't cut anything smaller if you don't have enough. So no more than 5.5 minutes. So between 5 and 5.5 minutes. And that's 20% of your grade with added downloaded content from Creative Content. All right, what does that mean? So in class, I've showed you how you can pick up Creative Content film, and I'll give you a couple other websites. One was Videezy, Veedzy, I think, but the link is on the website. But Videezy, you can go in and you can pull little Creative Content clips off. And Creative Content, what that is basically it's content that people have put out there on the internet for free for us to use. And we're not really making money off of the films that we're doing, so it's educational purpose as well. But you're going to have to add some type of creative content to your film. So this is a great way to add content that you might not be able to film all the time. Maybe you want a tropical island setting, so you could use that little clip of video just to establish the shot, establish the setting of what's happening, where we're at. Maybe it's a flight, someone on a plane, to show transportation from one point to another. Maybe it's, like we said, an exotic location, a plane, travel, a type of a restaurant. So these are the types of creative content that you could add to your film. So silent film. So that's 20% right there. At least 5 uses of vignettes in the film. All right, we're going to cover that in class. I'm not going to talk about that too much right now, but original font use. So the font has to kind of match up with the film, and we're going to show the different types of fonts that you can use probably on Monday and Tuesday of this next week. And then you're going to speed up the whole film by 10%. And there's a purpose of that. We're going to show some silent movies. Well, not the whole movie, but clips. Let's say clips. This is the first time we're going to talk about ratio, screen ratio, and let's see, we're going to get at least 5 transitions in there, and what's called a 4:3 ratio. So it's going to be different than what we're used to, and we will set that at the beginning of iMovie. Speaking of that, we're about to make the transition from iMovie to Adobe Premiere. Remote students, that's not necessary, but part of the class, the last 10 weeks of the class, is really more about Adobe Premiere, but you can still use iMovie to do the assignments. Premiere just allows us a little bit more freedom with our choices in filmmaking and editing. Okay, so 4:3 ratio, 5 transitions. Number 4, we're getting down to clear story communicated. So 3-part story structure like we've done before. You're trying to tell a joke. Okay, over 3 parts. So still we're having that story structure, 3 parts, beginning, middle, and end, but you're basically telling a joke in some way. Now, it's silent. You can put, font titles that we're going to see in just a moment, but you're not telling a joke, you're kind of showing a joke. And I think I'm going to have to do that more as a demonstration in class, but okay. And then number 5, the soundtrack fits action and movement of the film, and that's 20%. And that's really super important in silent films. Final movie must be labeled last name silent and placed in the shared folder. Late movies will not be considered for grading. So that statement really has to do with the end of the 10-week marking. Okay, so we should have this all fit in because we've got just about 2 weeks before we're done here. Not done, but at the 10-week marker. Okay, so I'm going to get into quizzes, and then we're about 12 minutes in. I'm going to check real quick to see if there's any questions so far on the live stream, which there are not. Any questions on email, which are not. There is not. Back to this. Okay, so I'm going to go through the quizzy, and then I'm going to show you a short silent movies clip helping to define them and how to work with them, and then we are pretty much done for today. So here's the quizzy, folks. I'm going 1 through 10. I'm actually giving the answers right now. What are silent movies? Okay, and silent movies it's C, movies that did not have any talking or music in them. Okay, now so A would be out. They had a lot of talking and music. B, movies that had talking but not music. Okay, so there's no talking in there. And D, movies that had music but not talking. C, they did not have any talking or music in them. Now, that can be confusing because some of the films, the silent movies that we're going to look at, the little clips, well, there's music. Okay, there's not talking, but there's music. So letter C for number 1 seems a little confusing until you get to number 2. How was the music played? Okay, so the music is not in the film. It was added live while the music was playing. So there was an actual band in the theater playing while the movie was running, because at that point in time they didn't have sound that synced up with or matched the moving pictures, so they had to have it separate. So number 1 would be C, number 2 would be A. When did it all start? 1894. Okay, before the turn of the century, really. So, and I'm going to scroll up here, and these are the folks that started it, the Lumiere brothers. Okay, and that's number 4. Go figure. Who invented silent cinema? The Lumiere brothers. That's letter D. Okay. Where was the first movie played? In a factory in Paris. So this silent movies, silent cinema, started in Paris. These 2 gentlemen, brothers, started filming. Okay, and if you click on this clip, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you click on this image, I guess, it's going to take you to a whole bunch of clips that the Lumiere brothers did, and they were less movies at the time in the beginning and more, kind of like studies. So it wasn't like a 3-act structure in the beginning. They were more experiments in recording movement. All right. Number 6. What are the main characters of silent films? Select 3. So, characteristics. So, the silent film was filmed in rolls of 35 millimeter film. That's correct. Okay. B, there was a title writer. That's correct. D, they were in black and white. That's correct. C is incorrect. They had piano music. All right. Well, there was no piano music in the film that was played live during the film. Again, it's kind of confusing. I didn't write these questions. Number 7. When was the last silent film produced and played? Right around the 1930s. Everything kind of switched over. Even before that, they had what they called talkies, right? And that's when they could actually sync the sound of music and speech into the film, so they kind of matched up in the beginning, and of course they got better and better at it. But we're talking between the creation between 1894 and when it kind of puttered out in the 30s, late 20s, where people were much more interested in films that had sound to them. And number 8, who was an important silent film actress, and there's an image right down here. These are some extremely important silent movie actors and actresses. So Betty Bronson, famous silent movie actress, and her name is right there, D. So Charlie Chaplin is not an actress. Demi Lovato and Angelina Jolie were not around during this time, and so it's Betty Bronson. There she is. Who was an important silent film actor? So where is it? Oh, there he is. Harry Langdon. Okay, important silent film actor. So letter A. So Brad Pitt wasn't even around. So up here are some of the probably the best known, at least comedy silent film actors. Charlie Chaplin, okay, also the nickname the Tramp. Buster Keaton is also called, I think they call him Stoneface. He never had like expression on his face. And then Harold Lloyd. And any of these, if you look them up on YouTube, they're really funny. I mean, the timing has changed quite a bit, for what we consider entertaining, but amazing composition and acting, and they did all of their own stunts. So I mean, often they had broken arms or scrapes or probably concussions during their filming, because it was such a very physical type of filming. There was no stunt people. Number 10, last one. Which of these facts are true? Okay, it's C, folks. It's all of them. Kisses could not be for more than 3 seconds. Okay, so in the beginning, everything was censored quite a bit. Couples had to sleep in separate beds. Actors and actresses could not show the navel or the armpits. Okay, pretty risque. All right, so make your own black and white. Add titles, change aspect ratio. So this kind of repeats what was up above, but up above we had the actual grading for it. So how to silent movie, and I can't remember which one. I think this is about silent movies. Okay, this link is just examples of silent movies. If I can get this to move ahead. Oh, look, Villa Maria. It's an interesting ad right in the middle of our live stream. I did not get any money for that, I promise you. Okay, there's Charlie Chaplin. Like, this is, and there's no second takes in this. It's not edited. This is one shot all the way through, cameras stabilized in one position, and there's Charlie Chaplin really physically falling and running for this whole bit. So the pacing is actually, it's pretty decent for this time period. Now, there's not multiple shots. This is more, of a stage where you just put the viewer in one position, and they can, the camera's moving up with the character here, but that's pretty brutal, like falling down that, even though it looks like it's padded, So you can click on that little link there. It's funny, man. But this is the one I think we're going to actually catch. Okay, here it is. So I'm not going to play the whole thing because the sound's not on. I can't have the sound on the video while I'm speaking too, because they'll fight against each other and it sounds absolutely horrible. But it's 12 minutes long, so I will stop a little bit early. I will check over any correspondence between you and I on the live chat and the email before I go. But I'm going to give you time here out of the hour to watch this with the sound on, even though it's a silent movie. But she is going to talk. And she talks all about the history of silent movies, all the way through the characteristics of the silent movies, and so I'm just going to kind of skip along. She talks about Charlie Chaplin, famous moments. There's Charlie Chaplin right there. They make references to some newer movies as far as how the comedy works. We talk a little bit about how we're going to speed up the film and the aspect ratio and the vignette and the fonts that we're going to use. So really what they're doing in this 12-minute instruction is they're doing the assignment. They're actually completing exactly the assignment that we're talking about in class. But I'm not going to take time out of class to watch this whole 12-minute video because we've got film editing to do. So there is it's a different editor. It's Movavi, I think, is the name of the editor, which I have very little experience with. I've used it a couple times, but not as much as Adobe Premiere. But you know what? If you look at this, it looks almost exactly like our iMovie. Here's our here they are scrubbing along. There is like our staging area, and lost it because she's talking more. So. There we go, and we could put a filter in that gives us this aged film, these little lines in here, this kind of little specks and grains in the film. So we'll add that effect as well. But that is kind of it for the silent movie. But that's super important to watch before next week. How to silent movie. Okay. This one, Adobe Premiere Introduction, we're probably not getting into that until the next 10 weeks, until after November 16th. Okay. But that'll be the first thing we're going to be switching over. So there are the answers, folks, for the Quizzy. They're all right here on this page. And I'm going to check my email. And there is nobody chatting with us right now. And I'm checking the live stream, and it's just me, myself, and I. So I am going to sum this up, folks, at the 32-minute mark, 33 almost. And today is October 28th, and this is film production. And we'll see you in the future. Watch that film.